and welcome to 5% Chance. I am Devin. I use he, him pronouns. And for those of you who are regulars on the channel, you may recognize me from our Wednesday night streams where I play Ding the grumpy old wizard who may have turned himself into a tank, like an actual real life tank, last session, which is grand. But tonight, we're not doing that. Tonight, I will be the GM or keeper, as it's called, for Monster of the Week, as I run all of my lovely players here through our Monster of the Week campaign, through the finale for our Monster of the Week campaign. Before we get started, I do want to thank Erica, our producer, and Courtney, our tech jockey, for helping us make this stream possible, along with just 5% Chance as a whole, because everybody on this channel is wonderful. Tonight's stream, just like every stream, is sponsored by Sheckler Woodworking, where you can buy some very nice dice trays, dice boxes, other wood creations that I guess don't have to have dice with them, but, you know, if you want. If you use the code 5% sign chance at checkout, you will get 10% off your order, because 5% really isn't much of a deal. But I will now go ahead and pass it over to the real stars of the show tonight, our players, and let's give it to the one who may have a fateful choice to make tonight, Ian.
No, I shan't. I denounce it. Hi, my name is Ian. My pronouns are he, they. Apparently, I have a fateful choice to make. Not. Oh dear. I forget everything I said because now I'm worried. Other than that, I play Morgan Ian, the spooky of the Ookie Spooky Girlies, I guess. The one that has, I guess, a really big important fated choice to make tonight. They are doing well, I think. They think they're doing well. At least that's what we feel, but then a dragon decided to come out and eat the moon, so we'll see what happens with that. Aside from that, I think I'm going to pass it on to DJ.
Hey everyone, my name is DJ. My pronouns are he, him. I am playing Hector Salas, who is the spell slinger. Really, if there's a problem, spells fix them. So that's the mentality that he goes into every situation with. Besides that, yeah, I've had a good time so far. I'm excited to see where this goes, and hopefully we all make it out. I'm going to pass it over to Nick.
Hello there, I'm Nick, he, they, and I will be playing the Initiate on, a Buddhist shaman who uses rituals in order to do her spooky stuff, the bane of every chicken that exists. And yeah, not sure what she's going to do with a moon-eating dragon. Not exactly her forte, you know.
Not the bane of dragons.
Yeah, bane of chickens, not dragons, sadly. Now, if they were dinosaurs, then maybe, but I don't. Dragons are not dinosaurs.
What are chickens but very small feathery dragons? Like,
I feel like if you say that to a more religious Chinese person, that comparing the dragon to a chicken would be a bit offensive. But you know what? Fair. This one eats the moon, so it's evil.
Anne?
Oh yes, Edward. I will pass it over to Anne.
Hi, my name is Anne. My pronouns are she, her, and tonight I will be playing Carmen Rivera, who unlocked untapped potential and her genetic birthright at the speed of narrative convenience. Now, as a result, I am using the Hex playbook. Surprise! Also now a magical spooky girly.
Yeah.
Everything's fine. She totally has no time to unpack this. Everything's fine.
Great. Welcome.
Fantastic. We've done it. We now have a full team of magical girls, and it's wonderful. Before we get started, this game will include topics such as blood, body horror, demons and monsters, descriptions of shamanistic rituals, including animal sacrifice, aquatic monsters, general horror themes, and a dark atmosphere. We have established safety tools here between us so that everybody can be having a fun time, because if somebody's not having a fun time, then that's a problem. But if for anybody in the audience anything is little tough to listen to, don't feel bad. Feel free to step away. This VOD will be available on Twitch like right after we're done, and then the edited version will be on our YouTube, the 5% Chance YouTube, on Monday. And you can skip around within there, avoid any sensitive scenes, anything like that. So, last we left off, as the players sort of indicated, a dragon jumped up out of the Puget Sound, screaming about wanting to eat the moon. But prior to that, they had our lovely hunters here had dealt with a couple of beasties down by the waterfront. A Magandara, which is basically Little Mermaid but angry.
Cannibal mermaid.
Yep, cannibal mermaid, and a Bawa. Well, a couple interpretations of a Bawa. One which is a sort of centaur-like demon that craves fresh shrimp, but doesn't want to cross water, and the other one that is a very small metallic bird that also wants to eat the moon. Because, why not? But those have been dealt with. After this, our hunters were called by Dirk to come back to SPI, where they were informed that the local hero, Jimmy Sparks, had been working with Dirk to find the source of what was happening and believes he has located it. And Dirk was approached by some older members of the community, along with the cashier from 8th generation, John, who sort of relayed the story of the spirit of Seattle to our hunters earlier on. And with their help, Dirk was able to compile a ritual that will help put the spirit back to sleep. And Kira and Susan also came in and sort of confirmed that this spirit was drawing things in, drawing spirits, drawing creatures, either bringing them to life or just calling them to this place and manifesting them here, depending on, how you want to look at that. So, our hunters are now tasked immediately after. Oh, yes, also we do have the Jimmy Sparks Conspiracies board of Anne's current favorite being that he is an extraplanar being, jumping between planes as a warrior to fight evil. I believe there's also,
Low-key,
Boogeyman,
this
Shape
one's pretty
Changer, or
good.
clones. There's also, I believe, a theory that he was just 12 raccoons in a trench coat.
Oh yeah, the 12
That was one of
theory.
Rocky's theories for you. So yes, this mysterious individual, Jimmy Sparks, with an abundant number of conspiracy theories, is going to be helping our hunters find the spirit of Seattle to help lull it back to sleep, while Kira and Susan try to keep things civil up top. Try to keep the moon from being eaten until our hunters are able to succeed. So we ended with the dragon erupting from the water, which at that, Kira and Susan both turn and look out. I mean, from SPI, really, you're just seeing that square in Pioneer Square and then buildings, but they're looking out as though they can see what's happening, and seem locked in on whatever it is, and look back in at all of you, and Kira gives a little bit of a bow and says, well, seems your time is up. Looks like we have some things we have to do. And
Okay.
Do we feel the rise of the dragon, or is
Yes.
this like off-screen stuff?
So you all heard and actually felt in your chest like a deep bass from the dragon as it screamed about wanting the moon as it shot out of the water. And displacement of that much water is not quiet. So while you may not feel it, you probably heard something jumping out of the water. If you sort of maneuver to look between buildings a little bit, you would probably see it coming up out of the water. It's not small. It's hard to miss.
No.
Oh. Okay,
Okay,
so we can. It is visible, right? Just for the record.
Yes, yeah. It's you would have to shove, like, if everybody walked outside and kind of shuffled to look down between the buildings, you would be able to see it.
Yeah.
Is there like a balcony or something?
Is there a roof?
There is now.
Yeah, sure. Dirk, I
Roof-
believe Dirk's apartment is
rooftop.
above SPI, but he has a roof access, so everybody can go up to the roof to get a nice look at this.
I mostly just want to make sure I get a look at it so that I can use Occult Confidential later.
Sure.
It's
Sure.
like I just want to. It's one of those like I gotta
Yeah.
do it for the technicality, right?
Yes. So
Okay.
you could certainly ask one question from that mystery list about this, but and go ahead and just roll plus sharp for me. Let's.
I'm
I'll
good
say-
at exactly. I'm exactly good at. I'm good at two things. Is it Carmen or on?
Carmen. Sorry, Carmen. Yes.
Okay, hold on. Plus sharp. Hold on. Man, it's real early. Do I want to use that? 7.
7. Okay, fantastic. So you can't be sure, but boy, this seems real familiar to some stories you heard as a child, Carmen, about the Bakunawa, which, to your best recollection, was a large serpent-like dragon that lived either deep in the ocean or up in the skies, depending on which version of the story you heard, that in the past had eaten 6 of the 7 moons that were originally in the sky, and now wants to eat the 7th and final moon, and has been banished a couple of times by the people, by the gods, by what have you. But you are pretty sure that is what this is, flying out of the water, and it's still going. Like you still haven't seen a tail yet. This thing is just still going out of the water.
Anne is watching this like wide-eyed, but behind the sunglasses, so it looks like she has a stoic face, but she's like, her eyes is just like, and it's like, huh, that's new. She just turns around and walks away, ignoring it.
That
Not her
is-
problem
looking
right now.
through the bags, like, I don't think the Molotovs are gonna help this one.
Yeah,
That's a big boy. Real big boy.
but not our problem. We have a Seattle spirit to deal with. I will not look at the dragon, therefore it doesn't exist.
Okay. Yeah, I guess we do rituals. Now, where, how to do this?
Do I get the sense that the Bakunawa
Mhm.
Actually, hold on. Let me do a thing. I have a question.
Yeah.
The sharp check that you had me do, was that for any particular move? Was that a
No, that was kind
investigative
of
mystery?
like testing
Oh.
testing Carmen's memory of her like childhood, of the stories she had heard, just
Okay.
to see if she recalled this thing.
Okay.
So it wasn't a specific move; it was more of a general check. But if you have a particular question you would like to ask about this, you do have that occult confidential that you could ask.
Okay, I have to. It's only a basic move, so I can't do the advanced part. Okay, I think I'll hang on to that question until I do a thing. I do a thing later, but I am going to put my guys on notice.
Kind of setting up for that Naked
Yeah,
City move.
for the Naked City move, and I'm specifically the occult guys.
Okay.
And maybe the hackers, but specifically the occult guys, because I feel
Okay.
like this is more of an occult thing. But
Yeah. So you send out a message to your cult guys, just about the dragon, and they will.
and then I send a goofy message to Rocky that's just says Bakunawa who dis, like it's their Carmen and Rocky just make crack jokes, and like it's their shorthand. They're friendly, so she
Sounds
sends
good.
that to Rocky because Yeah.
Yeah.
buds.
Yes. Awesome. So yes, your occult people are going to basically pull up what knowledge they have of the Bakunawa and try to help delay it. At this point, Dirk kind of grunts and goes, "All right, Sparks, get everybody down. It's you found a path through the underground, right?" Which Jimmy Sparks is like, yes, I did. There's an access right across the street here. We can dip into the underground of Seattle, and I found something new under there. Which it looks like there's a pretty big cavern back there. I'm pretty sure that's where whatever this thing is would be hanging out if it's under the city.
Okay, I guess we go now.
Yes. Let's.
Yeah, and Kira kind of sarcastically says, that would likely be for the best. Susan, let's go see if we can slow this thing down a little. And Kira holds out their hand, and Susan gives you all a little bit of a wave and a smile. And like as she twirls, that white dress she's wearing sort of wraps around her, and she turns into a white snake that sort of wraps itself around Kira's arm and up onto their shoulder as they kind of step off the building and seem to almost be like hopping along the air.
Oh.
Out towards the water.
Oh, An will go, oh, my mom told me about her.
About her? What?
Yeah, White Snake. Very famous story from where I come from.
Oh.
It's like,
okay.
There's a shit ton of movies about it, like a dozen TV series, a dozen movies. You can look it up. I'll give you a list.
Okay. Sure. Trying to collect their feelings about why crazy things are happening, dragons from the water, white snakes hopping in air. Okay, I'm gonna get my things and I'm ready to go. Goes down and gathers all the items that we need.
Sounds good.
An's already prepared because Eugene carries everything.
Yeah, Eugene's already got the ever-growing multitude of bags that we've decided Eugene carries ready and prepped.
Dirk, do you have the ritual written down or anything?
Yes, Dirk had given, I believe he gave On the written copy of it at the end of last.
She's studying it right now as she heads back downstairs and getting ready to leave.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right. Is there anything else that anyone would like to do before diving into the underground and starting after this thing?
And we'll just take the time to familiarize herself with it, to try to memorize it. She's done this type of stuff before, so she's good at memorizing like rituals. And so she's just gonna read through it and then just pass it to everyone else so that they can have eyes on it.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I'm assuming the underground, like it says, is dark under there. So
yes, especially because it's dark at night. You remember it from when you were hunting the Patangalan and the Jiangxi. There are like skylights essentially under there, but given that it's night, and street lamps might not be the most reliable, given that a dragon just jumped out of the water, like who knows how much power is going to hang around for the time being, either because of the dragon or just because people are freaking out. It'll probably be fairly dark down there.
Okay. What kind of equipment does the SPI keep? Sorry, I didn't.
Surprisingly well stocked. Like Dirk's got like when you ask Dirk, that one's in a locked case that he does not offer the key to, but he does take you down into the basement, which Carmen and Hector have probably been down there once or twice. But he doesn't usually bring people down there. But he's got headlamps, he's got hard hats with lights on it, he's got like big flashlights. He's got an array of like torches or smaller flashlights, reflectors. He does have a decent number of weapons. On would notice that there's a pretty good amount of ritual like material down here, just herbs and like dried things hanging throughout the place. So you're all able to stock up pretty well with pretty much whatever you want.
Before we go, who here has non-magical weapons.
Non-magic. I think I have like a knife.
You also still have a bunch of Molotovs.
Oh yes, I still have a bunch of Molotovs.
Carmen's got guns.
I mean, Morgan's not good with the 9mm, but they have it. and a switchblade.
Can I use? I can use magic to enchant weapons.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to do that for the switchblade.
Okay.
Can I enchant guns? Probably the
Sure.
ammunition. Oh, great.
Sure, why not? You could, yeah, at the very least, you could enchant like the clip, and so the bullets are magical, or the shells for the shotgun.
Yeah, let's
so,
do. Yeah, I want to do all of that.
Okay, let's see. So go ahead and roll the use magic on that. So roll plus your weird.
Yeah, I got a 13.
Why do you sound so sad about that?
I'm not at all.
Okay.
So all of your weapons now get a +1 harm to them and plus magic.
Yes.
Oh.
And you know what? Just for the sake of it, we'll say you enchanted a few Molotovs as well. You did a 13. Like, whatever.
Okay.
Everyone's got magic weapons now.
Let's go.
It's like, hold on. Bloop, there we go. I would like to do one more thing. Again, using magic, so I'm going to do a different roll, though.
Okay.
That one was 12.
Okay.
I want to do one thing that is beyond human limitations, and so between my two fingers, a spark happens, and then a orb of light appears and grows about to be this big.
Okay.
And I would like to send those to. So I do 5 of them.
5 of them. So each person has their own little.
It kind of orbits their
floating light buddy.
light. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Fantastic.
So is it just like a Sims crystal just above us?
It is like a will-o'-the-wisp, but not trying to kill us.
Yeah.
And produces enough light that we can see like a normal amount underground.
And looks up at it and is like, cramps my style. But at least I can wear my sunglasses underground.
Would a different color be better?
Make it red.
I'll turn it red for on.
And then she looks like a character in Insidious during horror scenes, and she's like, yeah.
Great. So our 4 adventurers and our 1 goth ritualist are all ready to go underground.
Is there?
Yeah.
Is there actual rope in this?
Yes, there
I take some.
Okay.
Just in case.
Great.
I don't know what's going to happen.
You're not sure how much it is, but it is like a significant roll of rope that you could basically wear over your like across your chest, like a bandolier kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's probably a pretty good amount. You also still may have an endless amount of handkerchief rope. You're not sure. It hasn't stopped. Like anytime you pull on it, more comes out. So
I just keep that in the pocket of my jacket. Just in case. I don't know what we need, so I'm just trying to prepare as much as I can.
Absolutely. All right. Any other preparations that anyone would like to make?
I think I'm ready.
I think that's it.
Fantastic. So Jimmy leads the way out of the shop. Dirk also gives everybody just like little radios, like radio earpieces, so that you all can communicate relatively easily, and he can get in contact with you if he needs to. And he's going to stay in the shop and keep an eye on things. So the rest of you go out, and just like right across the street from Pioneer Square, there's another one of those like steps down, door with a gate, kind of like what Kira did in International District, but same thing, except Jimmy actually like unlocks it with a key and like does it the normal way.
Yeah. Doesn't magically lock us in. Good.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. In fact, Jimmy goes first in. Taking the lead, offering himself as a meat shield in case anything should happen.
Oh. So kind.
So you all start making your way down through the dark tunnels underneath the city. And you're walking for probably a good 10-15 minutes. And then everybody go ahead and roll me plus sharp. Let's see how good your ears are.
Ugh, I hear nothing. 5.
Plus sharp. 8.
Oh no.
8.
I rolled a 6.
Okay.
I also got an 8.
Feels bad.
8. Fantastic. Okay. So, Hector and Morgan, as you two are, let's say, a little more towards the back of the pack as you're all walking. Carmen and Anna are a little further up and kind of turn a corner. And between the steps and like everything, all the echoing noise, you can't really hear this, but Hector and Morgan, as you are approaching this corner, they just turned around. From back down the halls, the way you would come from, you do hear steps, like very light steps behind you, and what sounds like it might be nails dragging against like walls every now and then. And then you hear just echoing down the halls. Which you're not sure. It was a real weird voice, but it did kind of sound like Miho being screamed.
Oh no.
I'll just say, guys, wait. Turns around. Something's following us. I think it said Miho. Something's behind us.
I was wondering when this would catch up to us.
Would Hector...
So,
Mhm.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, do you think? Because I'm pretty sure DJ recognizes what this is. Would Hector recognize this?
There's been enough pieces that he is making some leaps
Okay.
that I think would. The nails are throwing him off, but the continual Miho is ringing bells.
Yeah.
And especially putting together what Susan and Kira said about being pulled here.
Mm-hmm.
That reminds him of another person that he learned about recently from the Abuelas, who suddenly showed up.
Yeah. And I will say the nails, like, it could just be somebody's hand brushing against stuff. You're not sure. It just sounds like maybe their nails aren't, like, super well taken care of. And so they're catching on things. But, yeah, so...
I'll just say, do you hear it too, or is it just me?
No, I hear it too.
Okay. What do we do?
If it's what I think it is, keep going.
Oh, what do you think it is?
It'll look like a woman.
It will look like a woman.
She was a woman. It's fuzzy.
She's fuzzy?
No, it's not fuzzy. It might be
She's a Furby.
I don't know.
Oh.
And if that's the case, we are screwed.
Well, you
Okay.
said all we had to do is ignore her, right?
But she's... as we're walking, I'm having this conversation.
Yeah, okay,
I'm
I was
not
gonna say,
waiting.
yeah. I feel like Hector would usher everybody along. Which, if anybody wants to roll sharp to see if they recognize La Llorona when
Sure.
Hector mentions this, you are more than welcome to.
I will do
Sure.
my best.
Oh, 10.
There
Ooh,
we
let me
go.
try.
I also got a 10.
Ooh,
I got a
recently watched a
9.
movie about her.
fantastic. Yeah, I'm sure that there's a couple out there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So, La Llorona is, as Hector said, appears as a woman with long black hair, wearing a dress that has traditionally wearing a dress that has been soaked through. She is a ghost, effectively, from... It seems like a couple of different Latin countries and cultures, but definitely heavy in Mexican folklore. She's known as a vengeful ghost. She normally roams near bodies of water, mourning her children, who, as the stories go, she drowned after hearing that her husband had cheated, or after her husband left, depending on the version of the story. And then in her grief drowned herself. She is sometimes called the Weeping Woman. But every story that you have ever heard of her talks about what she is and where she came from. Nothing talks about a way to deal with her other than, if you hear her or see her, don't. Just don't. Don't be there anymore. Be elsewhere. So this...
Oh, no.
Yes.
It's fine. Par for the course. This is why I wear sunglasses.
Okay.
As we're walking,
Mhm.
are we like walking through old broken buildings, or is basically I'm looking for something that looks like the entrance to something, so an old like that we have passed through.
Yeah, so most of what you're walking through seems to be like just streets, but there's definitely a couple spots where like some buildings have collapsed down into the street, and instead Jimmy takes you through, like basically cuts through a building to pop out the other side of the blockage. So there's a couple of doorways you walk through.
So at the first doorway, after hearing her, I'll stop and let's see if this works. I'm doing some magic.
Okay.
That's a 13 again, because I am what? Good at magic.
Good at magic. And I think this is one of the ones you're extra good at, right?
No, actually,
No.
this is not.
Okay.
So I'm trying to bar a place or portal to a specific person or type of creature.
Fantastic.
So I'll again kind of, what's this gonna look like? Have ice come down my arm onto one finger, so it's a point, and scrawl along the door, essentially a like holding spell against La Llorona.
Fantastic.
When I'm stunned, the ice will melt and like I'll shake it off.
Oh.
I don't know if that will work or how long it'll hold her. Let's keep going.
Okay.
And I will say, with a 13, that felt pretty solid. That felt like a good protective ward, essentially. So you're pretty sure it'll at least buy you a bit of time.
Yeah, and the thing is, she could find another way around it, but if she comes the exact way we are,
Yes.
which I am assuming is going to happen.
From what you've been catching of the sounds, it seems like she is just following at the moment.
Is she here to kill? Or what is she here for?
That is a great question. I think she is fixated on me, and I don't know why.
Oh, you? Oh.
I mean,
How-
she's saying Miho, and if this is the person I think it is, we've seen her multiple times. She bumped into me at the international market. She's a teacher.
I'm sorry, she's a teacher.
When I met with the abuelas, where it was right across the street from a like kinder care kind of place, it's really like preschool.
Yeah.
And they were talking about this new teacher who showed up a few weeks beforehand, who really loves the children. I got a look of her, dark hair, but then I think I saw her at the waterfront as well.
Oh, so she's been following.
Yeah. So that means one of two things. Either I remind her of one of her dead children, or her husband who wronged her.
Yikes.
Neither is good.
Okay. Are the children okay? If she's a teacher.
Oh, she's depending on what version of her. Yeah, actually, she is a protector of children,
Oh,
but
okay.
she'll murder the parents to take them, and generally,
Oh,
yeah, it gets complicated.
okay.
Depending which version, she'll either murder them to save them, or murder the parents to then adopt the kids, which involves drowning them in the water.
Good. Stay away from water. Okay, water is not our friend. Got it.
Never is.
Okay.
Yes. So with that, Jimmy leads you through a couple more, basically like blocks of this underground streetscape, and then comes to just this big, like, basically a hole in the wall, but like not in the sense of a business, literally a hole in the wall that seems to lead back into like these deep caverns that definitely seems out of place. Like the rest of this has roughly been a city. This is straight up a cave that's just kind of appeared here, it seems like. Jimmy kind of stops and goes, this is as far as I've gone. I was gonna go down and check it out, but Dirk told me to come back when he met with the elders and the guy from 8th generation. But this sure wasn't here before.
Okay. I guess we go in and set up the ritual, and hopefully the spirit of Seattle goes back to sleep.
Sounds like
That's
a
the
plan.
goal.
Jimmy, are you coming with us?
Well, of course I am. This is my city as well. I have to help protect it.
Okay.
Oh, good. You can help Eugene carry some bags. We have a lot of stuff that we need to put out.
Of course. And he like just starts taking bags from Eugene.
Oh no, you don't have. Okay.
And An will start setting up.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess we walk into the giant hole in the wall.
Yep.
Look for the most central point with flat surface, I guess, and then just start dumping
Is
stuff.
it like a tunnel? Is it like an open like space, like when we walk through?
Yeah, so when you first walk in, it's definitely more like a cave, like just a tunnel, back into this place. But as you walk down, it does look like it slowly opens up into more like a cavern at the back.
Okay. Does it look like it was like carved out recently, or has it been like eroded naturally by water? Is it?
It doesn't seem carved. It definitely seems like it's more of just a natural erosion that has happened here.
I see.
But it's honestly it's pretty spacious. It's pretty easygoing.
How big is the space actually?
So the tunnel it's almost like a highway tunnel.
Got it.
Like if if you've ever driven through like mountains where it has
Yeah.
that through pass, or if you're familiar with Seattle, there is the recent State Route underpass. I'd say that's like State Route 90 or something like that. Regardless, there's a tunnel.
It's big.
Yes, yeah, it's pretty big. It's pretty spacious. And then when you get to the end of it, it opens up into a cavern that honestly looks like you could fit probably like a couple of football stadiums in it. Like it is a big open cavern. Like you could throw a hell of a concert down here with the acoustics and the space in here.
Okay.
And as you all kind of come to this cavern at the front, who's at the front?
I'm thinking An, since she's getting ready to set the stuff up.
Okay.
I think that Carmen would also be like close to the front to make sure that On doesn't On has someone covering them.
Okay.
Hector's in the back in case, because if he's really the focus for what's following.
Yeah.
Morgan likes to be in the middle, protected on all sides.
Sounds good. And Jimmy Sparks is probably also kind of at the back with Hector to help. Like, at this point, Jimmy knows this is more y'all's show than his, so he's going to hang back but also help protect. So, everybody, as you walked into this space, you do see a figure sort of out in the center of this cavernous area. And it's really hard to make much out about it when you first walk in. It's just this sort of shape, this mass. But as you walk in, it turns and looks at you and starts to stand up. And as it's looking at it looks almost spot on like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, just this big, buff action hero. Like, military vest and everything, the close-cut hair. Doesn't say anything at first, just kind of stares you down.
An actually frowns at it. She actually takes off her sunglasses when she saw this. Arnie? What are you doing here?
I could ask you the same.
She actually, for the first time you've met her, she looks a bit baffled. She just looks at because she's not sure if this is a hallucination or if it's actually Arnie, and don't know how much she should say.
I will say, it looks like Arnie. As you're looking at this more, Arnie's big. This figure looks like it's probably like 10, 12 feet. Like, it's big.
Oh, okay.
It's a big figure. Like, you're like, that looks like Arnie. That's a bit too big to be Arnie. Like,
okay, so yeah, she looks like, I'm here to do a job which I think involves you. It's time to go back to sleep, my friend.
Do I see this exact interaction happening as Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yes, yeah. Everybody, as this thing is staring at everyone is seeing Arnold Schwarzenegger hanging out there in the middle of this cavern, kind of just staring at and frowning. And as says that, he starts sweeping his gaze over the rest of you. And you, Morgan, you said you were probably nope. Carmen. Carmen is the second person there.
Yeah.
So as he sweeps his gaze up and locks eyes with Carmen, the form, like, he steps and melts into this older Filipino woman wearing an apron, carrying what looks like it might be a spatula of some kind. And you all are just smelling, just overwhelmingly, the smell of, like, good Filipino food, like lumpia and chicken adobo, just wafting through this cavern.
That smells like my Lola's cooking. But where?
So you've come here.
And she... Yeah.
Okay. So you've come here to put me to sleep, you say? To deal with me?
Can I use my occult confidential question now?
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to use Ooh, these are... Oh, I can't do the advanced part. Okay, I'm gonna go with
If you have a question not on the list that you want to ask, you can ask.
No, it's just like Okay, I guess what I want to know is like how dangerous it is. Like, what can it do to like hurt us? I guess that's the question.
So looking at it, it is certainly powerful, and it seems fairly impervious. Like nothing about this is giving off vibes that it's gonna care about much that you throw at it. But it also doesn't seem individually aggressive. Like it's not giving off the vibes that it's ready to swing at you with anything. And so far the only weapon you've seen on it is a spatula. And just the presence of Arnie. Like he didn't have any weapons on him, but he did have, you know, those guns ready to go if need be. But from what Kira and Susan were talking about, and from what Dirk was saying, it does seem like this spirit draws the creatures from people's folklore. And so it may have, you know, it may be that it might have like other creatures to defend it, or be able to summon something to defend it, but it doesn't seem like it is going to make the move itself.
You've caused quite a fair amount of chaos lately. You know, Carmen will just kind of casually put it out there. She kind of sidesteps the, you know, putting them to sleep. She just like casually says, "Oh yeah." It's like, you've caused a lot of chaos around here lately.
I have caused chaos, have I? And what about you? And she kind of continues glancing over your group, and the next person I believe was Morgan, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't look at me.
Okay.
Oh no.
So yeah, she continues looking through all of you, and again, eyes hitting that next person, Morgan, and she kind of steps forward, and as she does, her whole body just like fades to this deep, dark blue, like water, and sort of swirls into this mass of just writhing tentacles, and like you see that Filipino woman's face sort of amidst this watery shape, along with Arnie's face kind of floating by, and it sort of comes forth into almost like a large fish that swims by, kind of giving a side eye to Morgan, and in this sort of bubbly voice, "You humans are the ones that have disturbed everything. You people and your machines and your tunnels, making noise, tearing through the earth."
I'm sorry. As they say, I'm sorry. Morgan would like to do a little move.
Okay.
They're gonna put their hand behind their back, and they're gonna use a power that they have called Tune In. You can attune to the mind of the monster.
Okay.
Roll plus weird, and then
Okay.
I can hold 3 on a +10. On a 7 and 9, I hold 1. On a miss, the monster becomes aware of me.
Okay.
And I can spend 1 hold to ask the keeper one of the following questions and gain +1 ongoing while acting on the answers.
Okay.
So, let me roll really quickly. Oh, Lord. Let me calculate. Let me calculate. That's a 7.
Ooh,
That's scary. That was scary.
just
You can
beats
use-
it.
You can also use luck, remember?
Yes, you can. You
Don't
can
forget
burn
your
your
luck.
luck.
Ooh,
Yes.
you know what?
Fun reminder: you all can burn luck to turn things into a 12. If you want to, or to avoid all harm from an injury if that becomes an issue later as well.
You know what? I haven't done any of this. We're gonna do it now. I'm gonna use 1 luck so that the result and total is a 12, right?
Yes, yes. So the total will be a 12. So
So
great, you get your hold 3.
I get my hold 3. Morgan, as they say, I'm sorry, moves one hand behind their back and like moves their fingers in a motion where they pluck a string or an instrument and kind of tries to tune in as they stare at this creature
Okay.
using their powers.
Fantastic.
I think I will use one of the holds like right now.
Okay.
I think I want to ask what is it planning to do right now is the question I will ask for one of those holds.
Okay. So right now, and you'll sort of get like, you're going to get a few layers on this. When you tune in and try to understand what is it doing right now, you basically get this feeling in your chest, like you're hearing that music sort of coming back, and it's like it's crescendoing and also like speeding up as it's going, right? That beat's getting faster and faster and faster. So whatever, you're getting the feeling that it's ramping up, it's accelerating whatever it was doing. And as you listen to that music a little more and kind of tune into the emotions behind it, there is this sort of like frantic energy to it of almost like mania, like frustration in a way, but also sort of like sadness and grief and like a feeling of being misplaced. And it seems that this spirit, the spirit of Seattle, has been sleeping here for years, and upon being woken, just due to Seattle, due to the noise, given that it's underground, it's a reasonable guess that it was from the recent tunnel that was dug for the highway, which, as you think back, there were a lot of problems with that tunnel being built, most of which locals would point out is because you were trying to dig through wetlands and assumed it wasn't going to sink on top of your big drill. Thus, the drill got stuck a few times, but there were a few delays, a few problems trying to build this tunnel out. And it's very likely that that is what woke this spirit up, and now, like, all it wants, like, it was happy, it was asleep, just kind of letting the land and the people and the cultures here flourish, but now it's awake and it can't get back to sleep. There's too much noise, there's too many people, there's too much, and so it's trying to fix that. It's trying to get itself some sort of peace again.
I see. I think flooded with that kind of emotion and just like knowledge of what is happening, Morgan's just gonna go, I really am sorry. I understand. You've been misplaced, and you are right. We as humans are loud and messy, and we make mistakes. And we're here to help, to fix what we've done wrong. And kind of like eye glancing towards like everyone in the group while they like are talking to this to possibly signal them to maybe like slowly do what they need to do or move into a position, as Morgan's clearly trying to buy a little bit of time by empathizing in this moment, and then turns to like Hector to see what Hector is going to do.
Hector's not doing really anything at the moment.
Okay.
Kind of keeping an eye around, but this is on the show of the ritual.
Gotcha. Yes. While this thing is sort of distracted and working its way down this line of hunters and talking to them, are you trying to set up the ritual and get it started? Or are you just like listening?
Oh yeah, she's setting up. She's listening to all this conversation, and she's in the back of her mind. She's like, maybe doing this could might incite this thing to aggression, but then again, it seems like it wants to sleep, and so she's just doing it with like, she's not really trying to hide anything. She's just setting things up while
Just setting
the
things up.
thing is, in the
Okay.
background.
Fantastic. Tell you what, since this is all leading into big magic, so full disclosure, mechanically, you are going to be making basically a series of rolls for this ritual as things progress to get it set up and going. So the first one we're going to do is going to be an act under pressure while you're like setting things up to make sure that like you're getting everything in place.
Okay. Right. For Lou, 8. You know what? Luck point, 12.
Okay. Fantastic. Great. That's fine. I'm sure there's nothing that'll happen to your sect in the aftermath of all this. It'll be fine.
It's 3 people.
Okay. So great. So you're setting this up, and Eugene's helping you out, and you guys are able to set this up pretty effectively. But Morgan, as you know, you're telling it like, yes, we're loud, we're obnoxious. I'm sorry. And as you tune into it, it does like it looks right at you when you pluck that string and tune in, which like doesn't usually happen. Like you've done this a few times with other things, and usually, unless you mess up, they're not aware of it. This seems to have been aware of what happened. Like it knows that you felt basically what it was feeling.
Cool. Shaken, scared, terrified, Morgan takes an unconscious step backwards, and just goes wide-eyed and says, I really am sorry.
Hector will see this and step in front of Morgan to block line of sight.
Okay. So Hector, as you step in front, this sort of like swirling mass of tentacles and faces and like amorphous blob of water sort of surges forward towards you and solidifies into maybe a giant mermaid, more or less. Big, just like green, white, and black mermaid. Looks like it might almost be wearing a little bit of an apron, which is weird. But looks very similar to like traditional sirens out of like Greek mythology. And lets out this just obnoxious, loud laugh. Just, you're sorry. Oh, well, that just makes it all okay, doesn't it? Like, very fake nice. Like, super, like, it is what everybody who's ever worked customer service wants to be able to say, kind of. Just that, like, full snark, full send on the attitude. There's even a little bit of, like, a head waggle to it as this thing is talking. Oh, you're sorry, and I'm just, doesn't that just fix everything? And on everything, it turns to kind of step away from all of you, and again shifts. And this time, as the siren turns and steps away, an older native man is what steps out. But where the siren was is a somewhat younger native woman, still staring at Hector, which Hector and Carmen are both native enough they would probably recognize the older man as what is now commonly known as Chief Seattle, or Chief Sealsh, a little closer to the original pronunciation. And the woman there, a little bit less easily recognizable possibly, but is his daughter. I might get this pronunciation wrong, but Kikisoblu. And these are both, they were, very prominent figures in the founding of Seattle. And as he steps away, the spirit in the form of Chief Xiaosh continues talking. This place was quiet once. It was peaceful. I could live in harmony with the humans, with their tribes, even with those who didn't have a tribe when they showed up. But now it's so noisy, and I just want to sleep. I want to have peace again, but you give me none.
We're your best bet to get back to sleep fastest. Let us help.
Let you help. And what happens the next time I wake? What happens the next time someone disturbs the earth, disturbs my peace? And how long can I stay silent with all of this noise? And he kind of gestures towards the far end of the cavern, and for a minute the wall there almost goes translucent, and you can see the highway, the tunnel beyond that wall running through as cars go by, and you're just hit with this cacophony of roadway noise. How long?
I don't know.
Go ahead and roll a use magic roll for me. Let's see how the beginnings of this ritual are growing for you.
Plus, I'm like trying to think of a way that I can use contrarian to this, but then I'm like, do the opposite of what I'm told to do in the ritual sounds like an awful plan.
I mean, you are more than welcome to, but I cannot guarantee it'll go well.
Like, I'll get a +1 to the roll, but the outcome might not be worth it.
At what cost?
Yeah.
You got a 13, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. And that one you took the advanced move in, so you'll get an extra little benefit on this.
Yep.
Yes, so you're setting up this spell and or this ritual and kind of beginning it, and it is sort of, once everything is in place, it is kind of like Dirk was saying, it's like a lullaby or a bedtime story almost that you're reciting. So it's a little different from the rituals you're used to. But you kind of get into this and the words start flowing from you. And as this happens, the version of the Spirit of Seattle, the chief and his daughter stay there, but on that version that you first saw in Arnie, steps and turns to look at you as this is happening and takes a couple of steps to the side, almost like they've been hit with something, like they're staggered a little, and he sort of starts slumping to the ground and just flops down asleep. And it does feel like you've managed to shut off at least part of this spirit's power. You've gotten a part of it to fall asleep just immediately with the power of this ritual.
Alright. On seeing that the ritual actually works, like, she was skeptical about it from the start, but now that she realizes that it actually works, she'll, I guess, put a bit more faith into it, I guess. She was going through the motion at the start, but now she's like, okay, maybe these people are onto something.
Okay. And as that piece sort of falls asleep, Hector, the spirits, two versions of the spirit you're looking at, sort of snap back together into that large mermaid, that large green and black and white mermaid, and sort of briefly glance it on and snarl, and then looks back at you. And so now you just put me to sleep. just because you want to, just because it's convenient for you. And from the ceiling of this cavernous space, you do hear a scraping sound, like something with claws kind of scrabbling through a hole somewhere out there in the darkness that you can't see. And from way up high, something just rockets down, landing right in front of Hector with a loud screech, just... And Hector, you recognize this. It's a small, well, not small, like a mid-size, almost looks like a dog, like a mangy dog, but with large bat-like wings on its back, long claws and spines running down along its spine. Hector, you're pretty sure this is a chupacabra.
Yep. Of course it is.
So what would you like to do?
As it lands in front of me and I see it's hi. Very quickly snap my hands up.
Okay.
And do this, and a blast of cold air is going to very quickly solidify into a blast of like ice to try to restrain it.
Blast of ice. Fantastic. So go ahead and roll plus weird for your combat magic.
I'm gonna use luck because I just rolled 2 1s.
No.
Fantastic. And with this, there is now an official council of wizards in this world, and they're gonna poke their nose into Hector's business. But that's a later problem.
Consequences.
Fantastic. So
I literally rolled 2 1s. I was like, this. It's the only thing I could roll that would be a failure. A 1 or a 2 total.
Okay. So you rolled this, and so go ahead and tell me this: how this blast of ice knocks this thing backwards.
I'm not being kind. So it's a blast of ice that is sharp. Like it's not rounded or anything. And so the goal is to shred its wings so it can't fly.
Ooh, okay. Fantastic. Since you used luck to do that, absolutely, you shred these wings.
That's 3 harm.
Yes, and do 3 harm, and it looks rough. So it does get kind of pushed back a little bit, and then it looks up at you, and those eyes kind of narrow, and you see that mouth open and see like 2 very sharp fangs pointing out from the top with one from the bottom in sort of like an inverted triangle. And it launches up and grabs at you, sinking its claws into your vest, which, if I remember correctly, or your jacket, which is enchanted, correct?
Yes, it is.
Fantastic. So you will suffer no harm from that, since that is technically armor, but it is now latched onto you and looks like it's getting ready to try to, like, bite at you.
Hector will look undisturbed since it didn't puncture the armor.
Okay.
Again, putting up this, like, facade of, no. Do I get to go again? Can I do something else, or?
Whoever would like to go. The glories of narration. Anyone?
Is there... So... It's grabbed on me, so is there a space between my body and its body that are connected by 2 arms?
Yeah, so like its arms are holding your shoulder and its back feet are sort of pressed against your hips. So it's not held tight to you, but it is like latched onto you and sort of braced on your hip bones, like it's getting ready to pull into you and attack.
In that moment,
go ahead.
I'm going to... Because my arms are not able to do motion right now.
Yeah, they're.
I'll look at it as it's getting ready to bite me and say, "I summon the cold Arctic wind," and a wall of air will blossom between us and try to push us both back from each other.
I like it. That's right, because you can cut one of those. Yeah, okay.
Ooh, that is an 11. Much better.
Great. So
I have an idea.
okay. So let's see. Let's do. So the air comes up as a wall. So that's one
With
harm
armor.
and pushes it back. So yeah. So Carmen, you do see this wall of air come up and push this thing back off of him, and it is now free and clear. If you would like to do something to it.
Okay, I guess I could do the straightforward thing, but I could also do something pretty wild. I don't know. So it is free and clear and separated from Hector at this point, correct?
Yes, and there's still sort of this like wall of air between Hector and the Chupacabra, so Hector seems fairly protected at the moment.
Great. Okay. Hear me out. I think I have an idea for a rope.
Okay.
Okay, but I don't know exactly how this is gonna play out. But in my brain, I feel like all of the things happening at once.
Okay.
The idea is for Carmen to absorb the magical energy of a target. So if the Chupacabra is like a magical creature, she would try to suck the magic out of it to destroy it.
Okay.
Like,
yeah.
Just the basic idea is she's just pulling magic out of whatever she's. Instead of blasting it, she's gonna try to
absorbing. She's siphoning. Okay, yeah. I'll roll with that. So it will.
I don't know what the. I think it will involve definitely some kind of hold up,
like a magic word or a gesture.
I don't have an object on me. How many? Oh, it's only 2.
Yeah. You have to pick 2.
I have a question.
Yes.
I have a question. If I opt to take the harm, does it trigger my asphalt jungle?
No. So it's the asphalt. I like where you're going. The asphalt.
I'm gonna take
jungle,
the harm anyway because it's raw.
Yeah, because it's self-inflicted and like you
it's
have.
So metal.
Yeah, like it's.
Yeah, it's not part of a move.
It is part of that spell. It has to happen.
Okay.
Which also looking into that, I believe Nikki was right that asphalt jungle doesn't negate the harm itself. It negates the effects. However, we do still have the scarves in play, so at the moment, your healing is still accelerated, but you will still take the harm for this because it is a cost of the magic itself.
Okay, well, I mean, even if I do take harm, I'll just heal faster anyway, so it's fine. I will go ahead and take the harm because it's real badass. Okay. So I'm gonna call it. I am calling it. What do I call it? We'll shelve that. So what are the? Well, the basic idea is trying to drain.
Yeah.
Arcane magical energy, right? So on a miss, there's 3 levels of it, right? So how do we?
So tell you what. Go ahead and roll, and we'll see how this works out. So this will count as a use magic. So roll plus your weird. Let's see what the result is, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Oh, hello. That's awesome. After you use magic or cast a roll, take +1 forward on the next roll.
Yes. So you'll have your +1 for your next roll.
I just want to make sure I got that. What else do we got? I rolled an 11.
11, great. So 10 plus, so this is resounding success for this. So you pull out your knife, I assume, and cut across your palm, and sort of reach that out and pull, and just absorb the magic out of it. And you feel like the energy of this thing draining away. And it doesn't quite heal you, but it does kind of make you feel good, make you feel a little empowered. And you get the feeling that your next, like, magical attack, or attack in general, will have a little bit of extra oomph to it. Empowered by that magic you pulled from this. And the Chupacabra, while it doesn't necessarily look like it took damage per se, it looks just utterly drained. Like, its strength is just gone. Like, Hector had knocked it back onto the ground, and it looks like it was going to get ready to try to pounce, and as you pull the magic from it, it just sort of sinks down onto its knees and elbows. Or, well, not really knees, they're dog legs, but, you know, down onto elbows and its haunches, just resting on the ground.
So it's on the next use magic roll that that Carmen will do, is something will happen, but she doesn't know what yet.
So your next attack or use magic roll, like the next time you try to hurt something, you get the feeling it's going to pack a little bit of extra punch.
Do I get the sense that it's strictly the magic, or I can shoot something and it'll do something?
You get the feeling that no matter what you do to hurt something, magic will flow through it. So if you stab something, there'll be an extra magical oomph to that. If you shoot something, it's going to be a big boom. Basically, your next attack is going to do +1 harm.
Okay.
But as you do this, the spirit, that siren that was glaring at Hector, turns to look at you and shifts into this older Filipino woman who looks pissed. Just looks unbelievably angry, like gripping that spatula as though she's gonna go to war with it. And from off to the side, you hear what sounds like hoofbeats coming closer.
No! Oh no! Dude! Someone do something! I'm having a tiny hysterical meltdown.
As all of this happens so quickly, I think Morgan, in this instance of quick magic combat, just kind of goes like jumps back even further as they witness like Hector just like freeze and then push them away, and Carmen kind of siphoning from it, takes a moment to realize that this spirit of Seattle kind of is moving closer to Carmen, or has Carmen's attention. And something in Morgan's brain kind of just clicks a little bit and bolsters them for a moment and steps forward. And I'm going to use the next hold that I have of the next question in my tune into the monster.
Yeah.
And I want to know how I can attract its attention.
So, given what you just kind of witnessed and this like resonance you're feeling through the strings, it almost feels panicked right now. Like it is just reacting to things. So if you want its attention, it seems like if you interfere with these creatures, if you interfere with essentially the fight that's going on, you will draw its attention.
Okay, perfect. Then I'm going to act on the answer, which gives me +1 ongoing.
+1.
And I also used magic, and I also have
another +1.
Dance, so I get a +2.
Yeah.
Do I want to be silly? I want to be silly. I have a magic knife. We're knowing this now, Morgan's just gonna lunge towards the Chupacabra with the magic switchblade and like
absolutely
try to plunge into it.
Absolutely. So if you would like, you can also tie in your big whammy to this to roll with weird instead of +tough.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
It's the season finale. You get to do some big fun stuff.
Okay, cool. Yeah, why not? I think hearing this like resonance reverberate back and understanding its panic, I think Morgan being empathetic to that feels a similar panic and starts to like shake. And as they like kind of lunge forward, and initially was just thinking of like stabbing with the knife or the switchblade. Something else happens entirely, and I think it's a very similar thing that I think only Hector may have witnessed once a long time ago when they first met and they were trying to figure out Morgan's weird abilities. And it seems to look like everything is unraveling around Morgan themselves, like the space around them suddenly kind of like fractures and like wisps of like threads kind of come out, and you suddenly see reflections of different like fractured mirrors, i.e. like Doctor Strange, Mirror World. And as they kind of lunge forward, different versions of like I think Morgan in different spaces, and they all look very different, kind of converge, and all of these like reflecting mirrors and threads kind of tie into the chupacabra. And you, for the first time, I feel like besides I think, and maybe Hector, I think everyone in this space sees how threads are all connected and how we're all tied together in this space, including like the spirit. And as they lunge forward, the glass kind of like fractals pushes down, and the bunch of different like switchblades reflect in the same way, and it's just a bunch of them just like coming down towards this chupacabra, as Morgan's eyes in that moment also just like rolls back, and like you see them, it's just white, and it's just a yelling and panic in concert with the spirit of Seattle.
Fantastic. So yeah, you do this, and this just cascade of knives come down into this chupacabra and just absolutely tear this thing apart. Like it looks like it had a glass window get blown out into it. Like it's just cuts and shreds everywhere, and it lets out one last like scream, just this last, and then flops down, going fully still. On real quick, go ahead and roll me another use magic.
All right.
Tell you what, because you had a pretty good one last time, and Eugene is kind of helping you with this, so you can take a +1 from Eugene helping you out.
That means I rolled a 15.
Oh, okay. So again, you're like going through this lullaby, this bedtime story, and you just basically finish the second verse of it, right? And get back into more or less the chorus of the piece. And as these hoofbeats are getting closer and closer and closer, the spirit in the form of this older Filipino woman, kind of like that rage drops for a minute, and she kind of takes a step sideways, and this visage of the Filipino older woman, just falls to the side, kind of landing on top of Arnie. Spatula sort of tumbles away a little bit, and you see the Bawa approaching behind On, and it just up in smoke, essentially, like vanishes as it was approaching, as this part of the spirit of Seattle gets put to sleep. But as that falls away, this sort of just writhing mass of water and tentacles spins on Morgan and flares out like an octopus. Like when they spray their ink, it flares out, and you see that big, like all the tentacles come together, and out from it flies, well, not flies, but out from it hops several of the Jiangshi. Looks like 2 of them. 2 sort of hop out from it, and these are dressed in the traditional funeral attire from all the old stories. This isn't someone freshly turned. This is like straight out of the fairy tales, straight out of the storybooks, and they start hopping. They're not super fast, so you do have a minute to respond, but they start hopping out towards, specifically towards Morgan.
Anne sees this. She's still doing the lullaby thing. She just rolls her eyes behind her sunglasses, reaches into her coat, pulls out a bunch of the talisman, passes it to Eugene, and then just points at Morgan while she continues maintaining the ritual.
Yeah. Fantastic. So yeah, Eugene does run over with these talismans for everybody if they need them.
Eugene.
But yes, Jiangshi are all hopping in.
I think in this moment, as that kind of happens and the Jiangshi are coming towards me, Morgan is still now in a very different space. The air is entirely different around them.
Mm-hmm.
They look up and their eyes are still like rolled back white. And they say, "We tried to give you an out. We're trying to help you. Please take it. I don't want to keep hurting you."
And on hurting you, Morgan, your voice is there saying hurting you, but you hear that deep demonic hurting you from the spider resonate out with it. And you suddenly see just a whole series of these red threads throughout the room, and they all vibrate with that voice.
Oh no. I think in that moment, Morgan is starting to freak out just a little bit now, because we thought we solved this problem an episode or 2 ago. And as kind of intimidating as Morgan was trying to be, is now kind of just frozen in place as they see like the red threads everywhere. Like they're almost caught in this trap themselves. And they just stand and stare.
On also would see all of these red threads pop up, not as in clear of a detail as Morgan does, but with the sight, you see this impression of these threads, these like dark shadowy strands sort of appear throughout the space.
In her head, she's just like, damn cockroaches won't stay down. But then she also still gotta do the ritual, so she can't say it out loud.
Yeah.
I think
silenced.
I think Morgan in that moment then will also just start speaking to a thing that's there that they can see, and just go, I thought you were put away. You shouldn't be here. And like starts to like shake again. In front of everyone.
Roll plus weird for me.
Okay. Oh, that one's cocked. Okay, plus weird. That's a 10.
Fantastic. So, as you say this, you know that you thought this was dealt with. You don't want this. Those threads all burst into that sort of blue and purple flame, sort of just like racing in from the edges. Like everywhere you lose sight of the thread, you see the flames race along them. And the threads are all still there, but now they are just all wreathed in this flame.
Perfect.
Hector or Carmen, is there anything either of you would like to do? You got the Jiangshi hopping towards you. Yeah.
Can I assess what the biggest threat is? Like, just at a quick glance?
Yes. Yeah. So I'm not even going to make you roll for this one. The Chupacabra is a bloody puddle on the floor. So that seems pretty well dealt with. And so far as you could tell, the Bawa's gone. Like, it just vanished when that Filipino version of the spirit of Seattle fell asleep. It's like that connection was just gone and it vanished away. So right now, all you really have to worry about are the two Jiangshi and then the spirit itself, which is the biggest threat and also the least threat at the same time. Like, it's not going to actively do anything, but it does seem like it will bring other things in.
Okay. I am going to... Okay, let me see if I can track this. I am going to... I'm going to do a... I am going to do a... how close are the Jiangshi? Are they like... if I were to AoE those guys, could I hit them both, or is it like a
At the moment,
one
yes,
target?
they're pretty close to each other. So you could probably hit
Great.
both of them with an AoE.
What I'd like to do is burn everything. So I'm gonna
Fantastic.
roll a use magic.
Yep, so go ahead and roll plus your weird, which I believe you had a +1 on that at the moment, right?
Yeah, and then I have a +1.
Yeah, sorry,
on the
+1
next
from Luck
roll.
of the Damned, yeah. Because you used your rote
Okay.
last time, so you do have a +1 as well, so go ahead and add
Well,
two.
then yeah, and then it just...
And then you'll have,
because
yeah.
it just came in. I rolled... Wow, I do not know 100 numbers. 13.
13, fantastic. So, yeah, so you...
So I'm going to do the... I'm going to have the harm... I'm going to do the... Hold on. What am I looking at? Use magic. So I'm going to do... I'm going to do the inflict harm effect. But then my move is
yeah.
going to make it +3 harm area magic. My empowerment means it's an extra +1 harm.
Yes.
So I will turn that into an area of effect.
Fantastic. And so as the flames leap out and hit these things, you remember there was some conversation about this at the time, but boy, these things don't seem to like fire. As the fire hits them, they like burst essentially. Like, they're not gone, they're still there kind of hopping, but they are actively on fire and seem very unhappy about it. And
Real talk,
like, yeah.
I would be too if I were on fire.
Right. Yeah. And so as you do this, the spirit turns to look at you, and that amorphous shape like flexes like it wants to change, and then sort of collapses back in, and in frustration spins to look at Hector again, and shifts back into that mermaid. And again, kind of lets out a shriek, and nothing immediately drops in this time, but you do hear what sounds like a very heavy, like, slithering sound or a sliding noise somewhere in the darkness behind you.
All right, I'm in the back. So I will preemptively then shift the wall of air that's in front of me that was protecting me from the chupacabra and just flip it around so it's kind of barring my back.
Okay. Fantastic. Yeah. So you flip that around just in time, as out of the darkness there bursts this long, big, you almost think it's a snake at first, except it looks like it has the head of a calf. as it rockets out and just slams into this wall, kind of crumpling up against it. Which, Hector, you know these myths pretty well. You're pretty sure this is an El Culebron. And they could be a bit angry. But it is a large snake with the head of a calf, and it's just covered in hair down along its body. And as it slams into your wall of air and rears back to try to hit you again, Jimmy Sparks launches himself from the darkness of the tunnel and like puts it in a chokehold, essentially. Like wraps himself around this snake and just like squeezes. And seems pretty well on there at the moment.
Is its mouth open?
Jimmy, no.
Yes. Yes, as he squeezes around it, the mouth does open up.
Hector is going to then flip around, see this, grab their focus, and literally shove their hand into the mouth of the Skelebron. And let's see what my roll is. Oh, yes. I got a 15.
Oh,
okay, great, grand.
You'll notice as his fist goes
perfect.
gathering ice again. I'm gonna cast a blast. Just
blast of ice, just straight down this thing's jaw.
Yep, and it doesn't have nowhere to go, so it's going to blast out of the like. The goal is let's make the head pop.
Oh,
okay. Normally I would ask you what plus 10 you want on this, but I'm gonna say you do terrible harm with this, cause
that makes sense.
Cause that seems on brand. So let's see. That is 3 harm between the blast and the ice. So you 4 harm to this thing. So you ram your hand down here and just blast. And you do see inside, like, further down a little bit past where Jimmy Sparks is currently locked onto it. You see all of these ice crystals just fly out of this thing. Like you basically set off a grenade inside of it and you're seeing the shrapnel fly out. And it really didn't like that. It's not quite down yet, it doesn't seem like, but boy, it is unhappy.
The now problem is my hand is definitely in its mouth.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, it is definitely in. Yeah. And as your arm is down its mouth, it closes down a little bit. It doesn't feel like it quite has the bite force to break through that enchanted jacket of yours. But it bites down and just whips itself into the ground, pulling you with it. Slamming you sort of against the rock. So you do have your armor, but you will take 2 harm from that, because it's a big animal. Getting thrown by it is not fun.
Fair.
Yikes.
Yes. So you have the 2 Junkie that are not in great standing at the moment. And you have the El Culebron. Real quick, go ahead and roll a use magic for me. We're gonna fix some tech issues real quick, guys, and we will be right back. And there we go. We are back. So, let's see. Hector just got body slammed by a El Culebron, which didn't feel great. Now that tech issues are done, go ahead and roll plus weird. Let's do a use magic for this next chunk of the ritual. Which you will still get the +1 from Eugene helping, unless you have him doing something else.
1, 2. I mean, I did send him to give Stuff. Screw it! Another luck point to negate this double one.
Okay. Sounds good.
My sect is gonna explode.
That's fine. Nick is just building out my second season. It's all good.
All right. Yep. So that is an automatic 12.
So yes, that is an automatic 12. So again, let's see. It's I believe the siren is what is alive right now. No, sorry. So the siren just turned into summon the El Culebron, and as you complete this next verse, you see from the back of this siren, it's like water droplets start seeping out, and sort of starting to form into this watery, tentacly mass that Morgan keeps seeing when the spirit looks at them, before kind of just sloughing into a puddle over the top of Arnie and the older Filipino woman. So they're now laying in a puddle, both fairly wet, but that part has gone to sleep, and those two flaming Jiangshi jump forward and just vanish. Just the flaming talismans kind of drift to the ground and burn out.
Right, so that's just one aspect left standing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, just one aspect left standing.
Okay. And which of its monster is still active from this aspect?
The El Culebron, the big snake calf that is currently doing a death roll with Hector gripped in its jaws.
And
Jimmy Sparks
locked
onto it.
Is there a way for me to know whether this creature, the El Culebron, is it like supernatural in nature? Like is it a monster or is it like a spirit?
Yeah,
because that will determine whether I chuck the Molotov or the cow's or the horse blood.
Go ahead and roll plus sharp.
Okay.
Just to try to quickly assess this thing.
7.
7. Okay. So you can't be 100% certain, but you're pretty sure this is more of a physical creature, it looks like, than a spiritual one.
Okay, I'll chuck the Molotov then. I'll use that as my extra benefit from use magic.
Okay. Yes, right, because you do have the extra benefit.
I will aim it at the part where Hector is not on. I will not burn Hector.
Sounds good. Yeah. So as you're doing this ritual and you're like, I've got this, and you quickly set the Molotov down, light it, and just whip the thing to the side, hitting the back end. Yeah, hitting the back end of the El Culebron, lighting it on fire.
And it just reflects off my sunglasses and my red overhead light.
Yes.
It looks very apocalyptic.
I honestly forgot that On was just being super goth at the moment.
Yep.
Okay. So fantastic. So it's now kind of on fire. The back end is on fire. It smells a little bit like burnt fur, which is not a great smell. It's kind of like wet dog mixed with ash. It's not a wonderful smell. So who would like to do anything with this big snake thing that's currently holding Hector's arm? And Jimmy Sparks is still very much got this thing in a chokehold. He's doing his best. Which actually he does kind of cinches himself in and squeezes a little tighter. And Hector, you do feel the jaws loosen a little bit on your arm, so you are able to pull that back if you want to.
No, I'm good.
Oh,
okay.
Oh, okay. I think recently, as all of these events happen, Morgan seeing the kind of threads, the red spider web threads, kind of go ablaze into a blue flame. Is the spider still there?
No, you're not hearing that voice anymore. Or
Okay.
feeling that presence.
Okay, cool. shaking that kind of like don't make me hurt you kind of off, resonating in their brain. They see all this weird calf snake thing happening, and they're gonna rely on what they used to. They're afraid that if they try to hurt it, some weirdness is gonna happen, so I'm gonna jinx it instead. The creature. So I need a roll plus weird.
Yeah, roll plus weird.
My God. I'm gonna have to use another luck point, it seems, because it's a 2 and a 1 plus 3 is still 6. So I'm gonna.
But the last thing you did was use magic, right? And you do have Luck of the Damned.
That is true. So I do have a
7.
7. Okay, I can hold 1 on it then.
Okay.
I think coming out of this kind of weird shaken daze, they pull the blue flame strings like from the air, those threads, and then kind of like cast it over the I can't remember the creature's name. I'm so sorry.
El Culebron.
El Culebron. And then so it's kind of like the threads kind of tie around it, and they kind of like pull back on it, just waiting for a moment to see if they can like shift threads of fate a little bit or not in one favor or another, as they kind of have it tied loosely.
Okay.
That's what Morgan is up to.
Fantastic. Either Hector or Carmen, do you have anything you would like to do?
I have a terrible idea, but Carmen, if you want to get in on this first.
I think you are muted. Yeah.
I should probably have unmuted. Okay, which terrible idea do I go first? Wait, if Hector already has a terrible idea, let me mull it over.
Cool.
Okay.
So Hector will say, as his hand is still in the mouth of this thing, well, that was so nice, let's try it twice. But this time it's air.
Ooh, okay.
So I'm doing a blast of air. I'm trying to make it into a balloon.
A nice big balloon. Okay.
Not a 4.
Go ahead and roll that for me then.
13.
Ooh, fantastic. So again, I think it makes the most sense that it takes some extra damage here.
Yeah.
So Hector, you blast air into this thing with that mental picture of turning it into just the worst fuzzy balloon that anyone has ever seen. And it does, like, that back end starts to expand, and you're like, this might work! Before it just ruptures, and the whole back end of this thing just splatters.
Ew. I'll very slowly pull my hand out with my focus still in it.
Yeah, Hector says ew, and Jimmy Sparks goes, ew indeed, and then, like, rolls off of it.
I'll use the last little bit of, like, wind magic that I still channel to, like, slough the, like, saliva and just, like, whatever else is on my arm.
Fantastic. And so this thing, the Spirit of Seattle, this big siren, this mermaid, this angry thing, looks at you, and then its eyes sort of shift behind you a little bit, and it smiles, and you just hear it go, oh, that'll work, and sort of flick its hand, and a chunk of the back wall falls away, and you do see a fairly young looking Mexican woman in that same sort of like blouse that you saw her in before, with the jeans and everything and long black hair, but she looks pale, like pale, and her hair looks wet almost, along with just all of her clothing seeming drenched. And again, you hear that just scream of, as she starts staggering in towards Hector. Go ahead and roll use magic for me.
All right. Oh, okay. 14.
Fantastic. So, you finish the last sort of verse, the last refrain of this lullaby. Just as La Llorona is sprinting through this space towards Hector, and you see the siren's just evil, wicked grin slip, and like the eyes go unfocused as she just collapses back into this puddle of water containing Arnold Schwarzenegger and an old Filipino woman. And
geez.
La Llorona, actually, and as this thing is collapsing, Morgan, time almost seems to slow.
No.
And you see one solid blue thread, not flames, but the thread itself is that bluish purple, appear before you. And you hear Kira's voice say, "It's time for that favor."
Now?
Now.
Oh boy.
Fine. Reaches out, plucks at it, pulls.
Fantastic. Go ahead and roll plus weird. Let's
Okay.
see how this goes.
Okay. Okay, not bad. That's a 9 plus 3. That's a 12.
Fantastic. So yes, so you pull this thread, and on again with that sight, it almost feels like it happens too quick for you to notice, but because you're casting this ritual and fueling it, and you feel that magic kind of closing in to tie off all of the Spirit of Seattle's power and basically cut off all of the power to all of the creatures that have been summoned. You feel just ever so slightly a shift. Like the threads of this knot that was getting pulled together got pushed just a little bit, leaving the tiniest little gap before it cinches down and the siren collapses, and Hector, La Llorona, as she is running at you, suddenly stumbles, like trips on the rocks and falls into you.
I'll catch her
Okay.
and
Yep.
whisper, like it's okay. Time to sleep, Isabuela.
Fantastic. And as she hits you, you notice she's like, her clothes are still a little bit damp, but it's not like drenched through anymore, and color has returned to her skin a bit. And over this pile of spirits starts to glow and sort of shrink down and collapse into, honestly, you're like, you look at it and you're like, that looks like a squirrel. That looks like a really big gray squirrel.
Oh.
Just sleeping, like tail tucked around it, passed out on the floor. And from down the walkway, you hear footsteps, and surprisingly, you see Dirk walking down.
Sir?
Glad you could help.
What?
I was keeping an eye on things up there, making sure they had what they needed, but good job. Knew you guys could do it. Now,
There's just one more thing we need to do to make sure it doesn't wake up again. Dirk, do you have any earmuffs up in your house?
none that'll fit a squirrel, but I do know a rather nice patch of woods out in the Olympic Forest that relatively undisturbed.
Oh boy.
I like the earmuffs idea more, but that works too. She starts packing up her stuff.
Yeah, and Dirk comes out and pulls out this, like, kind of looks like a baby blanket. It's got little stars and planets all over it. wraps up this gray squirrel and swaddles it, and stumps off, kind of walks back with you all. Is there anything anyone would like to do in this cavern before exiting, or would you all just like to follow Dirk out?
Do I notice the thing that happened with Morgan? I don't know why I said that way. Morgan, what happened to Morgan?
Morgan.
Yeah, so you definitely, like I said, it was almost too quick to catch, but you did for that brief moment see that bluish purple hue thread appear, and you saw Morgan's hand twitch, and that's when you felt the spell or the ritual shift. So like you can't be sure what it was, but you got a sense of it.
Do I know what happened? What I just did? Or is that a mystery to myself?
What, you rolled like a 12 on that?
I got a 12, yes. It was
Okay.
a 9 plus 3.
Yeah, so that's a pretty good roll. So you have a pretty good idea, especially given what Kira had kind of said up above. You're pretty sure what Kira did. You're pretty sure the original ritual, if it had been completed, would have just fully banished anything that had been summoned by the spirit of Seattle. You're pretty sure what Kira did was tweak it so that only the bad things, the big bad things, went away. And that some of the other things were able to hang around. Which also makes sense since La Llorona didn't disappear the same way everything else did. Like, when the siren fell and when that spell sealed off El Culebron and the Chupacabra, both of them evaporated. Those bodies evaporated away. But La Llorona just became a person again. So it seems like basically the terms of the ritual were altered. The intent of the ritual was altered a little bit to be a little more flexible.
I see. As we are kind of like gathering and walking out, I kind of bring it up and I say, guys, I remember that favor I owed Kira. Well, she decided to cash it in at the very end, right as you were finishing that ritual on. And I think I might have changed part of it, or what the ritual was intended to do. It was meant to seal every other spiritual, supernatural thing out, and I think there's a tiny hole in it that allows some things in. Perhaps things like Kira, and only seals out the really big bad stuff. I'm sorry, I didn't know that's what she wanted. I panicked.
No way you could have known. And besides, I look at Hector and Carmen. The two of you interacted with Kira a lot, right?
Yeah.
You think they're a threat?
From what I can remember, Kira is out for herself. I don't think that she is actively evil. I don't think that she would have helped Morgan if that was the case. So she's a trickster.
Well, in that case, all's well that ends well then.
Okay.
I mean, till the next problem comes around, I guess.
Yeah. Thanks for not... Thanks. And then kind of just like follows.
Hector
I
still
was
has
just
his hands
watching
full.
Morgan.
Yeah.
Yeah, Anne just keeps an eye on Morgan as she walks back with the others.
Okay. Yeah. So
Mulling
you all
over
are
some
able to
stuff
make
in
it
their
out relatively unharmed. Hector's a little beat up, but like a bit of bed rest should do the trick. You all get up and Dirk loads this sleeping squirrel into just an old beat up Subaru. hops in the driver's seat and he goes, "All right, I'm gonna go find this one a place to sleep." Well,
I'd like
not
to go with
find.
you.
Sure. Hop in.
I look to Carmen. When she wakes up, can you help her?
Yeah. I mean, what kind of help? I'm not. She just looks at Hector and says, "Okay, I'll do it. I'll do it."
Your day job kind of help. I think that she's human.
Day job help. Okay, I thought you meant something else.
If I wanted that, I wouldn't have A, carried her out, or B, asked you to wait till she woke up.
No,
That's
I meant
cruel.
math. I thought you meant magical help. So I'm like, wait, I'm not.
No, she'll probably be confused. That's all.
Okay. Great. Great. I know exactly how I'm gonna handle it. Don't worry.
So I'll hop in with Dirk.
Fantastic. So, Dirk and Hector drive off. It's a bit of a drive. You kind of got to swing around the Puget Sound to get over to the Olympics. So it's a long night for you two. But when you get up there, Dirk pulls into a trailhead that doesn't appear to be on any map you've ever seen, Hector, and heads out into the woods a bit before finding a clearing and kind of putting this squirrel down into like a hollowed out tree in the clearing. Very peaceful.
I'll the entire time be making effectively what people are probably going to see as like fey traps. They're not really, but like braided portals of wood, and putting spells on them to repel people, not have them want to get close. And then on the inside the tree, put another really the stronger one that I can of like people cannot enter this space. So I'm basically banishing people from it instead of banishing a spirit.
Yeah. Fantastic. I'm not even gonna make you roll for it. This is epilogue stuff. You get the nice happy ending. Y'all did well. So yes, you do this before heading back to the city, and as we close out season 1, I imagine you would call back to your sect to report in kind of on what's happening and just catch up. And as you make that call, we cut to the sect's house in back in your home, and you see the phone just sitting on the ground, buzzing away, ringing. And that is where we'll end.
Oh boy.
Season 1. Thank you, everybody. All of you amazing players, all of you wonderful audience. Thank you, Erica. Thank you, Courtney. Thank you, 5% Chance. This has been wonderful. This has been honestly a fantastic first streaming attempt at GMing something. A fantastic second attempt at GMing anything in general. So thank you all. One last time here for this. I am Devin. You see him pronouns. If you want to follow me, I use the Twitter handle of Gray_Wolf_Moon. But really, I am a fan account. I repost things from 5% Chance and all of these amazing people here. So why don't you all introduce yourselves? Reintroduce yourselves. Outro yourselves. Whatever. And we'll go in reverse order. So yeah. Starting with...
I guess we're going backwards. Hi, I'm Anne. This season I was playing Carmen Rivera, who went through a whole journey. I love her so much. Can't wait for season 2. You can find me on Twitter at @XO_girl wonder, where I post about the stuff I do and sometimes antagonize fandom people because it's fun. I guess I'll see you guys the next time I am on this channel. Yeah, and just go to my Twitter. I'm sure I'll be yelling about the next thing that I am doing that I'm not allowed to talk about yet. So stay tuned for that. Yeah. And then we're gonna go to Nick. Yeah, we're gonna go to Nick.
Well, I have been Nick, and I have been playing Lee Teng-an, our steadily weird individual that I just play for some reasons. She's supposed to be cool, but I just play her more of a weirdo as the game goes, and you know what? I'll accept that.
She's still cool.
And I wait anxiously for season 2 to see what happens to my sect. And you can all find me as NickSnat1 with the number 1 on basically every single social media that exists, and you can also find me occasionally over at DA Dungeon every other Friday, where we are playing through Dragons of Icespire Peak, but at the end of each session we change DMs to ensure maximum chaos. Our next game will be next Thursday, 3 p.m. EST, so see you all there. And then I shall now pass things over to, I think it's DJ.
Yeah, hey y'all, DJ, he, him. I played Hector Salas this entire game. Hector has progressively gotten more aggressive, which is kind of terrifying. But has done his best to protect the people that work with him. When I am not here, I am on Twitter at DJ_KQ. I talk about nerd shit, I talk about gay shit, and I talk about DEI work because that's my day job. Besides that, I'm also on the leadership team for the Queer XP, the Queer Experience. We're a podcast that brings queer people to the table of tabletop games, and we try to play games that are historically not written by cis white men, which is really exciting, a lot of fun. Give us a follow on anywhere that podcasting happens. You will probably see and hear some familiar faces. I know that at least the person I'm going to pass it to has been cast in the upcoming season 3 game. But I play there as well, so if you liked me being chaotic, it's even worse there. I'll pass it over to Ian.
Hi, my name is Ian DePriest. I've been playing Morgan Yuen this whole entire season. It has been a wonderful joy to get to know them and experience them. And, I'm sure everything's fine and there are no dark, creepy crawlies lurking anywhere. They solved that problem. There's none of that. None of that's still there. So we we wish Morgan, or at least I do, a restful sleep. Outside of this, you can find me on Twitter at IanLDP. I tweet about actual play stuff like this, random thoughts, random podcasts, things that I like, and I'm also going to be, as DJ has so wonderfully mentioned, upcoming on the Queer XP in the future. Just keep an eye out. We'll tweet and text about it. Text? I don't know who I'm texting. Tweet about it at least. And other than that, you can just search Ian DePriest. It's Ian and then DE in the word priest. You'll find music, you'll find pictures, you'll find anything anywhere on the internet. I'm easy to find. Yes. Anyways. Thank you so much. That's me.
Yes. And again, thank you everybody. We have Ash and Shade back next Wednesday here, where you can watch Ding be an absolute gremlin rolling around inside of a tank of shields of Warforged, just being a terror. And next Thursday we will be doing a sort of post-mortem talk show outro for this season. So if you would like to come hear us all just chat a little more casually about all of this, come check that out. It should be a good time. Otherwise, go check out our socials. Go check out the 5% YouTube. You can find pretty much all of our archive stuff there. And you know what? Have a wonderful week, however long, until we see you again, everybody. Till next time. Bye.